When it comes to managing your side, as a coach, I often get asked many questions about how you should manage the basic disciplines within your team. Quite often, a coach will be referred to as a good or a bad man manager, and a lot of that tends to come down to, in my experience, based on how a coach manages players who don't turn up to training, or players who turn up late for training, players who don't wear training kit. So it's important to be aware that as a coach, those things are just as important, if not more, than the X's and the O's, the tactics, the team lists and everything else. So let's talk about some of the possibilities. First of all, let's put yourself as a coach into a really high quality elite environment. In an elite environment, for example, a junior rep situation in Australia, in Harold Matthews, SG Ball, Mal Meninga, Cyril Connell, something like that. Or in England, if you're picking a rep side in a regional camp, a national camp, or a service area team. One of the first things that you can get out there to your players is that if they don't turn up to the party for what you want as a coach or as what the team wants, there'll be somebody else that will. What I mean by that is, if you're coaching a rep side, you might have 40 or 50 players to choose from and only have a squad of about 20, 25. Do the maths, and it's very important to get across to your players that if they don't do it, somebody else will. So when you're in that rep situation, you can start to set the standard. You can start to set the standard in terms of what time you want players to train. So for example, if it's a 6 p.m. session, there's an old phrase called Lombardi time, where if you're less than 10 or 15 minutes before your session, you're actually late. So say 5:45 for a 6 p.m. session. Things like kit, if you've got kit available for training in, demand that your players wear kit for training. I'll tell you why that's important, because if you're doing team runs such as 13-13 or get small-sided games, you can actually change the shirts inside out and you can actually have one team against the other in different colours. Then there's the age-old question of what to do if players miss training. All I can give you is my experience. We have a culture out there at the minute where there's a lot of material out there and a lot of talk about empowering players to make decisions. Some people blame that on Generation Y and that you can't tell players what to do anymore. I sort of slightly disagree with that, although I do take it in and I do listen to it and I do believe in it as well. What I'm trying to say is that I don't believe in it wholeheartedly. So a player still needs boundaries, a boy or a girl, a man or a woman. They still want boundaries, and those boundaries are really important in any relationship. So I think it's not unfair to ask for a certain time to be adhered to, for certain kit to be worn if it's available, and for people to be expected to train. Now, this is the key, what happens here and how you manage that.